Tell the banker everything about what is good. Don't hide anything that is bad, even when you marry a second wife.
When you cheat on your taxes, how do you have the audacity to complain about government malpractices? Numbers don't lie. Banks don't finance ideas. Banks fund predictable cash flow. I don't want people to start saying that they want money to go and buy arms. The key problem with small businesses in Cameroon is not access to finance. The key problem is structure. If you cannot build a good relationship with your account manager, why should the account manager vouch for you at the decision table regarding loans?
What are some ways that an entrepreneur can build this relationship, can show that they're trustworthy? When it's time that that loan committee sits down and tries to take decisions, they can be able to get a yes.
It's not about being rich or poor. The issue lies with who tells their money where to go to and who wonders where their money has gone to. Dream very big. I don't like people who dream small. When do you want to write down your will? I have mine in my head too, and I think we need to start putting it down in writing. Why should we be afraid of death? We are all going to die one day. I used to tell people that if you like, give me the land title of Hedon. If I don't trust you, forget it.
Today we have a great and insightful guest, someone who with a lot of experience in Cameroon's financial industry across Cameroon, from the grassroots, but also at the national level, working with small and medium-sized enterprises, working with entrepreneurs, building businesses, partnering with businesses for growth. I'm happy to welcome Mr. Besong Enokenwa.
Thank you, Bamai. It's a pleasure. Mine has been a sweet journey. That started on a funny note, but it didn't start by chance. It started with a lot of vision and a lot of purpose. I joined the bank in 2010, so I have 16 years of experience in banking. When I joined the bank, I requested to do an internship, and I was called up for a job. At first, I didn't want to take up the job. My initial idea was to gain 1 or 2 years of experience and get back to school. But when I got into the job, I discovered that I had to stay and fulfill purpose and follow my passion. And so for the last 16 years, I've been working with a host of institutions at various levels of banking, microfinance, SME finance, and today I've been able to graduate from front level staff to a leadership role. One of the things I've noticed during this time I spent working with small businesses in Cameroon is that the key issue, the key problem with small businesses in Cameroon is not access to finance. The key problem is structure. Most businesses are not properly structured. And so in the next phase of my career, I'll be focusing on finding the dividing line between ideas and financial discipline. Most businesses, like we say, are suitcase businesses. They are not officially registered. Sometimes I used to tell most business people, when you cheat on your taxes, how do you have the audacity to complain about government malpractices? So it starts with us, the small businesses. I should register my business the way it's supposed to be done. I should declare my taxes properly and pay them. So it's all about that.
You have worked in the banking sector for quite a long time. So would you say that Cameroonians are rich? You look at people's accounts every day. Would you say that Cameroonians are rich? Would you consider us Cameroonians as rich? Or are people like in many other parts of the world where, you see people, people live on loans and, their accounts are almost always on zero?
The concept of rich or poor is a relative concept. If I have a net income of 10 million francs a month and you have a net income of 1 million francs a month, What makes you think I'm rich and you are poor?
Yeah.
So it's to say that looking at bank accounts alone cannot determine true riches. There's more. I think what we should focus on is the untapped potentials. That's where the true riches lie. There's more untapped potentials out there. That's what is going to make us rich. The things we can do and we cannot do, and we are not doing them. It's not about how much we have in the bank accounts. And the dividing line is not about who is rich and who is poor. The dividing line is about who tells their money where to go to and who wonders where their money has gone to. So it's an issue
powerful.
Of financial literacy.
That's powerful. Please say that again. That's powerful.
So I was saying that it's not about being rich or poor. That's not where the issue lies. The issue lies with who tells their money where to go to and who wonders where their money has gone to. If you know how to tell your money where to go to, you can be considered financially literate. But if you wonder where your money is going to, you lack financial literacy. That's what's most important, being financially literate, not about being rich or poor. I may have 0 franc in my account, but it's that way because I've told my money where to go to, and I know where it's gone to. I know the asset is acquired. I know the cash flows, the predictable cash flows those assets will produce in the future. And you have 10 million francs in your account that earns interest at 3% a year. And then maybe because of inflation at the end of the year, you are wondering where the money has gone to. Because you pay tax. Or if you don't have a proper financial control, you spend impulsively, you do wrong investments, and so at the end of the day, you're wondering why you are poor. So it's not about being poor or rich, it's about being financially literate. Knowing how to tell your money where to go to, knowing that I can tell my money to do this at this time, and I'll not wonder at the end of the day or the end of the month where it has gone to.
Yeah, and now you're also manager with Afriland First Bank, which is arguably one of Cameroon's biggest banks.
The biggest.
Being able to work with those organizations, especially starting with Campo, how was the experience like?
I don't really do see it as a change, because at the grassroots level, I was working with the very small businesses. When I moved to the bank, I stayed on that same level, perhaps on a national level. I still do a lot of SME finance. I still work with small businesses, medium-sized enterprises, a few large corporates. So the change may be in the way the concepts are viewed at the level of Cameroon or at the grassroots levels. Banking was done based on a lot of social cohesion. At the grassroots level, most small businesses don't have collateral, formal collateral. So they relied on solidarity among their groups. A lot of group loans is being practiced. A lot of social cohesion is used as a means of collateral. At the bank level, or we could say the national level, formal collateral comes into play. So it's a little bit of graduation. But a small business still remains a small business until the mindset changes for them to graduate from a small business to a large corporate.
In terms of perception of financial institutions in Cameroon, in general, also as it on outside, people think credit are more accessible. The new banks are much more difficult. You guys have a lot more rules, a lot more processes. And of course, entrepreneurs really, they don't approach banks, they will likely get a no. So why do you think there's this perception?
Like you say, it's an issue of perception. It's not the reality. That's the truth. It's just a perception. And the key problem is information asymmetry. A question of communication. Small businesses blame banks for blocking them. The banks on the other side blame the small businesses for not being ready to be funded. You see, so small businesses need to understand that banks don't finance ideas. There are a lot of brilliant ideas outside. We need to take note of this. Banks fund predictable cash flows. So, I'll take an example. You live in Diboncha, where there's 99% of rainfall throughout the year, and you have a brilliant idea of selling sachet water. Very good idea. It's a nice idea. And would there be people who will buy sachet water from you? Yes. But how predictable are the cash flows from that idea? So you see where the issue lies. So we need to bridge that gap between that perception of information on both sides.
What are some of the main reasons that you would say no to their business idea or their business plan?
I'll first of all like us to make something straight. The issue is not an issue of age, because we're talking about young entrepreneurs. At the level of the bank, we're looking at entrepreneurs. It's not an issue of age. It's an issue of structure. It's an issue of organization. It's an issue of record keeping. Mm-hmm. It's an issue of consistency. Who is consistent with the bank? How often do you save, no matter how small the savings are?
Yeah.
It's an issue of respecting your engagements.
Mm-hmm.
Do you skip on payment of your workers? Do you skip payment of your monthly bank charges? So it's all of that. All of that is not about age. So at the law of the bank, we don't look at age. It's not like, okay, this guy is young, he's 21, so I can't fund him. No. The question is his idea bankable? Is it well structured? Is he organized? And I'm going to shock you. There's one thing that most small businesses in Cameroon and maybe in Africa don't yet know. Even if you have structure in place, you're organized, you are consistent with your banking habits, you pay your staff, you pay your taxes and the like. The real question is, at the decision table, what comes up after looking at all of this is who knows you?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we like it or not. Who knows you is an African perspective. Who knows you, who can vouch for you.
Yeah.
It's an issue of relationship. If you cannot build a good relationship with your banker, with your account manager, why should the account manager vouch for you at the decision table regarding loans? So that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Relationship. After we look at the numbers, it's true, numbers don't lie. Those figures don't lie. We are going to look at your financial statements, they are good. We'll look at how you structure your business, you are registered, you are compliant in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of taxation and all of that. At the end of the day, the money the bank will lend to you belongs to the public. Most people don't know that it's not the capital of the bank. That money belongs to the public. So at the end of the day, the question we're going to ask If all of that structure and organization fails, who knows you? Who can vouch for you? It's a relationship.
Yeah. So that I think what you're saying is where a lot of entrepreneurs fail is building that relationship with their account managers, with their banks. But in your experience, what are some ways that an entrepreneur can build this relationship, can show that they're trustworthy to their bank, to their account manager, so that when it's time that that loan committee sits down and tries to take decisions, they can be able to get a yes?
Communicate as much as you can do with your account manager. When I say communicate, you don't need to communicate in bad times. You need to there should be some sort of transparency in your communication. Do you know that you're a banker is to a small business as a doctor is to an individual? When you go to your doctor, you have pain on the right ear. Do you tell the doctor you have a pain on your left leg? No. You communicate transparently.
Clearly.
So a small business should be able to communicate that way with their bankers. Tell the banker everything about what is good. Don't hide anything that is bad. Tell him everything about you, even when you marry a second wife. Yes, because that can affect your cash flow.
True.
When you're organizing your child's birthday, tell him. We're talking about building a relationship. How do you say you're in a relationship with somebody and you organize a big party and the person is not invited? It means it's not in your inner circle. Your banker should be in your inner circle. So that's what you have to do. Communicate transparently. Keep proper records. Don't hide anything from your banker. Even when it's bad, if you have difficulties, tell him on time, not when it's too bad. Let him know on time. Because we can take proactive actions to correct those difficulties. If you're importing goods after being granted a loan and there's a delay, the containers have delayed, there's an issue with the ship and the like, inform your bankers. The banker can say, okay, if we're expecting the goods in 45 days and the goods now reach in 60 days and your first installment should be in 70 days, the 10 days difference is too small for you to sell. So the banker can ask for a rescheduling of your loan, or the first installment can be pushed ahead. We have a case right now in Cameroon. I don't know if it's political, but I'll just mention it so that small businesses can learn. I think for the whole of January, most businesses, if not all, who have containers at the ports have not been able to take out their containers because there's some issue between who is to scan containers. It's not the fault of a small business, but I believe 60% of them obtain loans from banks. If you cannot inform your bank transparently that I also have containers at the port, what do I do? Because in February I have to start paying, in March I have to start paying, and when I look at things, I'm not sure I'll be able to. You are not communicating properly. You are not building a good rapport with your bank.
In terms of the relationship with entrepreneurs, with small businesses, what are the typical funding sizes that, for example, the small businesses come in for, and they ask for, basically?
By Cameroon law, a small business makes a turnover of about 2 billion.
2 billion?
Yes. So you understand that in our economy, in our ecosystem, 90 or 95% of the businesses are small businesses.
True, yeah.
Okay. Now the loans will vary. It will range from 1 franc to above that turnover threshold of 2 billion.
Yeah. So it's
now
it's a very
the amount will
range.
depend on the need of the small business, what they are asking the money for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it varies.
Yeah, that's true. I think SMEs in general, the definition is quite large, so it's quite difficult to get a clear idea. Okay, and just looking at the specific instruments that the bank, Afriland, of course, which is the biggest bank in Cameroon, that is able to give out to businesses. What types of instruments, beyond just loans, what type of instruments do they have to support businesses, to support people who are looking to grow their cash flow and be able to work with the bank as well?
The type of instrument the bank will propose to a small business will depend on their level of growth. Because at each level of growth, there's a different need. At the startup phase, there's a lot of investment need. But once they've grown a little bit and stabilized their growth, the need may transform from investment to working capital needs. So it depends on the growth phase they find themselves in. But some of the instruments could be startup loans. It could be working capital loans. In working capital, we could give treasury loans, cash for you to buy goods and services. It could be discounting of bills. We practice that a lot with those who are into public contracts. Once they have delivered their contracts and they're waiting for payments, they can bring their bills for the bank to discount. We could also do leasing to permit small businesses to acquire equipment, which they will not otherwise be able to acquire if they had to go for an outright financing. So there are several instruments that we could use depending on the growth level.
Yeah, that's understandable. On the leasing, can you go a little bit more in detail, because I think that's very interesting, to leasing to get equipment. What type of equipment specifically could a business acquire?
Any kind of lawful equipment. Lawful, because I don't want people to start saying that they want money to go and buy arms. That's why I said any kind of lawful equipment. Yeah. Any kind. It could be medical equipment. There are many hospitals we need that will need medical equipment to renew their set of equipments. There are transport and logistic companies that require vehicles, trucks.
Yeah.
There are companies into manufacturing that need manufacturing equipment to produce their goods. So any kind of lawful equipment that gets in line with their business of operation, we can finance that.
Looking back again at the business owners themselves, for example, if I'm a business owner and I have a lot of passion for what I do, if I want to position myself for funding in, say, the next 12 months, I'm working towards that. What are some steps that I should take now to position me properly in the next 1 year to get good financing for my project, for my business?
Let's look at it this way. Let's see it as a relationship between a doctor and a patient. The patient has hypertension. The doctor will tell you need to reduce maybe salt intake. You need to do exercise.
Yeah.
You need to drink a lot of water. It's the same thing between the banks and the small businesses. Now, if you do what the doctor asks you to do, it means you trust him. Financing or loans start with trust. In fact, that's the key thing about funding. It's all about trust. If I can't trust you, no matter how structured you are, no matter the value of the collateral you've proposed, I'm not going to finance you. I used to tell people that if you like, give me the land title of Hidon. If I don't trust you, forget it. So, for a small business to position themselves in the next maybe 6 to 12 months to obtain loans from the bank, build that relationship of trust with your banker. Let your banker buy your idea. Share the idea with the banker. Let the banker buy the idea, understand the idea, and even make proposals on how you could structure the idea. Make it formal. Because banks don't like dealing with people who are informal. We like to get them from the informal sector to the formal sector. So make your business formal, keep proper records, be consistent with your account, with your transactions. A dormant account tells a different story from an active account. Two scenarios. Someone who has an active account and then requests for a loan and puts a collateral worth 10 million francs. Another person who has a dormant account. From the time he opened the account, no transactions. And then he requests for the same amount of loan with the same amount of collateral he has proposed. Who do you think we are going to give the loan to?
Yeah.
Stay active. Let the banker see you. Visibility means a lot in banking. And how do we see that visibility? It goes beyond the financial statements you present. We see the visibility on your account transactions. We see the visibility in your presence in workshops, seminars, symposiums, and other meetings organized by the banks or by other industry actors in the industry in which you operate in. So those are just some of the things that your small businesses could do to get themselves fundable.
And I think you touched on something that that is very close to my heart, which is people moving from informal to formal, because I think that's a big problem in Cameroon. We have too many people operating in the informal sector. I know that, sometimes the informal sector is just easier because you don't have any forms to fill, any paperwork to do. You just wake up in the morning, make some money, and you get back home, and it's easy. But, it's quite difficult to build an economy on that. It's quite difficult to maybe get a loan because nothing is formal. Nobody knows how much you make every day, all of
Your
that.
cash flows are not predictable.
Yeah, exactly. And you cannot get the financing that you need to do something big. So that's something I'm very passionate about. How do we support people to get from that informality to be able to formalize themselves in a way that they can feel comfortable to expose and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is how much I'm making. In that way. That's very important.
Maybe from the start we've been throwing a lot of shades at small businesses. I think I need to also be on the side of the small businesses to create balance. Most businesses are not informal because they want to be informal. Some of them don't have the means to graduate to that formality we expect of them.
Yeah.
And that's where business development services come into play. What are business development services? These are non-banking or non-financial services provided maybe by banks or other organizations that will help improve the capacity of small businesses. It could be market development. It could be networking. Now, I did a little bit of study some time back, a few months back, and I discovered that in all of the business development services put together are important, but the absence of networking alone, even with the presence of the other business development services like marketing, like teaching them how to keep proper records, the absence of networking alone will negatively affect or impact access to loans to small businesses. So, helping businesses to move from the informal to the formal sector, there must be some sort of business development being provided. The question is, who should provide that? For long, banks have been waiting on the government or international organizations or NGOs to do that.
Yeah.
But if the banks really think that the relationship we have with our partners, I don't like calling them clients because it's supposed to be a win-win partnership. If the relationship we have with our partners, those small businesses, if it's a good relationship, then I should provide the business development services for them. Why not do that for free? Practically, that's what I do. I have businesses who come to me, and you see that he makes a lot of interesting figures. When you talk with the guy, he tells you he makes turnover of 300 millions a year. All he knows, he's the old school type. All he knows is that if I buy maybe a truck of goods or a truck of rice for so and so amount, and I sell here for so and so amount and make a profit of this, that's all he knows. Most times, he doesn't keep proper records. Or even when he keeps records, they are incomplete. What do? We go out to a restaurant, we're chatting for me to understand your business. I ask you questions, you give answers, and we're just chatting, and I'm taking down notes. With those notes, I can rebuild your financial statements and tell you that this is your financial statement. You now have it structured. You can go and look for maybe an accountant or somebody who is, who has the job to do that, to structure it in the proper manner, and then you bring to the bank for funding. That's business development service. Those who do contracts, sometimes when I talk with them, I can tell them, hey guy, look, don't go into this contract. Because when I read the contract terms, I can understand some issues there that may cause him problems. And you can advise him that, okay, don't do that. That's business development service. At the bank, at Afriland, we organize what we call Mercredi de la PME, SME Wednesdays. We can decide to do for those in the transport sector, and we invite the host of them. And then we tell them, sometimes there may be a new law in their sector and they are not aware of it, they don't know how to interpret it. We can invite an expert to teach them how to do it for free. Those are business development services. Banks should do it. Banks should incorporate it. In fact, I think at the level of the bank, we should translate from a customer relationship manager or an account manager. Yes, that's the term. We should translate from being account managers to being business development managers. It's not just about an account manager manages the flow of transactions in the SME's account. A business development manager manages that and does more, adds value to the small business. That's what we should do.
Yeah. That's very important. So would people like incubators, accelerators also fall into that sector of business development?
Yes, incubators, accelerators, they do that. I think in Cameroon we have what we call the Agence de Promotion de PME, the SME Promotion Agency.
Yeah.
They do that. The issue I have with what is happening in our ecosystem is that those actions are not coordinated. I do mine on my own scale. The SME Promotion Agency does something which is very good. Another bank does something which is very good. Incubators are doing a marvelous job. But how do we put all of that in a coordinated manner to benefit the small business? Yeah. You should think about it. You can say something on that.
For sure. It's something I'm definitely passionate about, and to see people grow from informal to a small business to a proper business, that can hire people and pay salaries and be good. So it's definitely an interesting project. So moving more towards moving a little bit away from SMEs and them being able to get monies, because of course at the end of the day, even the SMEs are founded by individuals. But just one thing that I've been wondering, which I think is a collective issue that many people are always curious about. Sometimes we have a lot of rich people who make a lot of money, and at the end of the day maybe they pass away, and but their kids or their next of kin are left are left wondering about how things operate at the level of the bank. If, for example, we have an entrepreneur, a small business owner who has made a lot of money, and maybe not in their documentation, maybe not specified very well who is supposed to get access to that money when they are gone. When that finally happens, and maybe there's no one to call, or there are those types of issues, how does the bank deal with those types of situations?
Okay. There's one thing you need to understand. Banks operate under strict regulatory principles. Banks are not there to guess who is the heir of an estate. They are there to respect the law. I'll ask you a question before I continue. Do you have a will?
In my head, not written down, unfortunately. Sad thing to say.
Get a lawyer to start writing that. When do you want to write down your will?
Yeah.
I have mine in my head too. And I think we need to start putting it down in writing.
Yeah.
Why? Most people make a lot of money and they don't think that a will is important in their lives. They start thinking of writing a will when they're on the sick beds. But at that time, what's important is not that will. It's you asking God for mercy to save you if you are not ready to die. So, while alive, strong and active, get a will, which you can update every now and then. Decide who gets what when you no longer be there. Let it be in writing. If that is done and you die, the law has already defined the principles of succession. So your family can go to court and follow all of those principles and inform the bank that, okay, first inform the bank about the death of the person, so the bank can safeguard the funds. That's the first thing the bank will do. If the bank has information about the person's death, the bank is going to safeguard the funds, will block the accounts. Waiting that proper documentation should be done by the family so that we know who is the rightful manager of the estate.
Yeah.
If the bank is not informed, the bank is not a magician to know. It's true that if there's a good customer relationship between the bank and the person, the bank can notice that the account has become dormant and find out why. Yeah. But even if we know that the person is dead, all we can do is safeguard the funds by blocking the accounts. There's nothing else we can do. We cannot decide, we cannot impose, we cannot guess who is the manager of the estate. So the family is in charge of that. Now, for you, the account holder or the small business person, don't hide information. Have trusted people in your inner circle that you can give information to. They should know that I have an account here for this purpose. I'm doing this at this time. So that when you are no longer there, they can be able to get in touch with the banks and know what to do. Some people die, their accounts are dormant, the banks cannot reach the family or any other person, and the accounts stay like that, dormant. Who loses at the end? The family. And with the new law, we have an organization that has been put in place. The organization requires banks, the law requires banks to transfer the amount in dormant accounts to that deposit and that deposit organization, SEDEC in French. So after a certain period of time, those funds will be transferred to SEDEC. And I don't think that the process for the family to get hold of the funds at the level of SEDEC is very easy. So while alive, inform people, let them know, don't hide it. Let them know that I have an account here for this purpose. Have a will in place. And the family should be able to contact the bank in time to inform the bank about the passing of the person, get proper documentations at the level of the courts to know who is the estate manager, and then from there they can get in touch with the funds.
Thank you for enlightening a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of families are definitely going to do that, and Yeah, thank you for enlightening me as well. I definitely need that will. I think these are things that you can only plan for, because you never know when that type of situation definitely comes into play.
Why are we afraid in Africa? Why are we afraid to plan our lives after death? Why?
We're afraid of
Why
death.
are we? Why should we be afraid of death? We are all going to die one day.
So true. Yeah.
Why are we afraid to take life policy insurance? Why? Even simple health insurance, why can't we do it? Is it that we think that we're not going to die? We need it.
So looking at all the things you talk about, what do you think we are missing in terms of the advice that we should be giving to small businesses, to people with dreams, with passions, who are starting out trying to build businesses for themselves, so that they can eventually grow to working with organizations like yours?
Start small, grow big. Be true to yourself. Don't inflate your figures. Numbers don't lie. So don't inflate your figures. Small businesses have the tendency of overestimating revenue and underestimating expenses and risk. Have a realistic plan. Dream very big. Really big. I don't like people who dream small. I like to see the big picture, where you are going to in 50 years. I want to know that you have a vision. But in that, start small. And be passionate about what you are doing. Keep proper records. Build a good rapport with your bank. Financial literacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think on that note, it's really been great to have you. So enlightening, and I'm sure all the viewers who are watching us would be able to have grasped so much from that, on how to grow their businesses, on how to manage their relationships with their bank, and on how eventually to become those big businesses that they want to be. Because of course, all the multinationals that we have today started as small businesses. Thank you once again, Mr. Besong, and looking forward to continue the conversation and chatting with you. I think for anyone who of course is eager to work with you, to work with your organization, you work with Afriland, you're the manager of the Ituri branch, which of course is one of the big branches in Yaoundé, and of course I'm sure you're looking forward to having more accounts for SMEs. And
of course.
yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again for watching and for having this really great conversation on how we can support Cameroon's entrepreneurs be as great as they need to be, on how they can get finance, on how they can work with banks to get the necessary financing to grow their businesses, to become big. Please like and subscribe to our channel, the Biig Africa Podcast, on YouTube, on Facebook, all of our pages. It's really, really important to us, and we promise to continue bringing you even more high quality content.